Hello everyone. What a venue. It's like a Design Geeks version of playing at Wembley, isn't it? Yeah, thanks to Henry and Simon and all the Nomensa gang for getting us in today. Whoop, whoop. So hi, I'm Tommy Toner. I'm co-founder and VP of Product at Cuckoo.
And hi, I'm Leanne. I'm a senior product designer at Cuckoo. I thoroughly agree with Carl. This is nerve-wracking and anxiety-inducing, so please bear with me. But today we would like to talk to you about, am I double micing? No, okay. We're going to talk to you about designing the future and our tendency to look towards new tech. Thank you. VR, AI, NFTs, whatever they might be, rather than looking at the consequences of what we design and what we have designed. So as an industry, we need to start asking at what cost? So we're going to kick off with an anecdote, originally shared by Viviane Castello, sorry if I've butchered that, in the book Ruined by Design. So in the early 1900s, psychiatric hospitals had a pretty unusual way of judging with patients' fitness for release. So the test went something like this. Patients were ushered into a room where there was a sink and a mop, and they were followed by an orderly who would plug the sink and turn on the tap, and the water would start to overflow. The orderly would then leave the room and close the door behind them.
Okay, so you had behaviour A, right, which was those patients that, you know, the water's gushing out of the tap, and then it's going all over the floor, and they've been given the broom, and then they decide, actually, I'm going to turn the tap off, I'm going to take the plug out, and then I'm going to mop the floor. Okay, so they were deemed the ones that were clinically sane, and they were able to return back into society. Then you had on the other side is behaviour B, which is the patients that the water's gushing out of the sink, and with the plug in, and they're just frantically mopping without, you know, addressing the root cause. And those patients were deemed to stay prescribed to the psychiatric hospital. Yeah. So Viviane Castello basically said, many of you, or many of us in the tech industry are just frantically mopping, not thinking about the root cause. We've made a little video.
There's never been a tipping point quite like this. A new digital era where man and technology fundamentally reconfigure their relationship.
What is this?
It's a Juicero.
I'm sorry, I don't know what that word means. What's
It's a new
Juicero? Okay, define it for me.
Juicero, the best juice ever. What comes out of the Juicero is so fresh that it shouldn't even be called juice. It should just be called, I don't know, squashed produce, because that's what it is.
Tech-savvy consumers are lining up today to be the first to purchase Sony's brand new stupid piece of shit that doesn't do the goddamn thing it's fucking supposed to.
Tap the touchpad to wake up glass. You should see the display above your line of sight. Adjust it to see everything. The home screen shows a clock.
It's being called the biggest fucking waste of your hard-earned money to come along in years.
Was he working? This isn't to say, as a design community, we're inherently a bad bunch and people are doing incredible things with some of this technology. And there are bad apples in the cart, so those marketing agencies, greenwashing Shell, we see you. But we're not here to talk about that today. We are here to talk about the well-intentioned community and people like us. So, with intention aside, we've been busy moving fast and breaking things. I think we all hate that now. But we've left a deluge of ethical debt in our way. So it's time to turn off the damn tap. And I'm not saying that we all need to up sticks and work for non-profits. If you do, that's amazing. Please stay there. We need you. The rest of you, you need to stay where you are. And we'll explain why as we go through our talk.
But first, you're probably all thinking, who are we? So we, you know, rather than show you all our portfolio and all of the brands that we work for, we thought we'd actually do the opposite of that and show you the worst thing we've designed. the least ethical thing that we can think of. So my name's Tommy, and I'm a recovering careless designer. So I don't know if we're going to get in trouble for this. I've redacted the logos. However, the brand's quite strong, so you may be able to identify who it is. So about 10 years ago, I used to work for this brand, and I was in charge of concepting. So back in the day, going back 10 years ago, websites were pretty static. There wasn't much live data with APIs coming in and presenting you anything. So this was quite like industry first. So it was we were able to show sports telemetry data live to the user to encourage them to bet. So I was responsible for designing concept, which essentially was to reduce all friction and make it as easy as you can to gamble. Now So this thing, I know what it sounds like. This thing here, with one click, believe it or not, the concept was that you could literally just drop 20 quid straight up, which I know morally it sounds really bad. I know there's a few talks earlier which should call that out. Now, in hindsight, looking back those 10 years ago, what you could have done as a designer or myself is introduce purposeful friction. That's probably too frictionless, and at what cost? And there's other things like I know someone mentioned earlier in your talk earlier was about could I introduce maybe this was going to be enabled on as default for everyone, but actually could have it been an opt-in experience instead of an always on. So Leanne, what's the shittiest thing you've designed?
Glad you asked, Tommy. My name's Leanne, and I'm a recovering careless designer. So a few years ago, I was a lead service designer on an airport car park booking app. That's not the worst part of this story. Now, I know that we hate those, but unfortunately, they are a necessary evil for airports. They are incomeless without them. So we got to it as a team. We designed it. It was beautiful. It was accessible. It was smooth and delightful. Does my mic keep going? Am I just going to... Yeah. Sorry. Anyway, it was lovely. The problem came when they white-labelled the product. Now, we knew in advance that they were going to white-label the product, but we didn't ask all too many questions besides the usual design ones. Can we make it this colour, etc. The product is now used by a private firm that charged the wonderful people at the NHS to park at their life-saving jobs. And I made that really easy for them to do. So I could stand here and say that wasn't my fault, but it was, because I didn't ask questions and I didn't withdraw my service and my craft from something that was almost definitely dubious to begin with.
So, but how did we get here in the first place? Okay, so we're all familiar with these kind of images of the past. Traditionally in advertising and print, you've got the objectification of women in everything from cigarettes to alcohol. You've got the direct targeting of sort of vulnerable or sort of impressionable consumers. And then you've got instances where even children have been targeted for things like fast food. This kind of medical greenwashing concept. However, with the advent of the internet, there was a sort of a moment where all of these sort of dark behaviours started coming into UX and into the services that we designed. I mean, I'm sure everyone here has probably tried to book a flight through Ryanair or maybe EasyJet, and you get to the end of the checkout and you realise you've accidentally bought travel insurance, a hotel, car rental, and a frisbee or something like that. So, it kind of basically leaves you feeling violated because these kind of dark UX practices that go on. Has anyone tried to leave Amazon? Okay, we got one. Okay, actually, not that many of you. I had 2 email accounts a few months ago. Tried to get rid of one of them. This is what happens. Okay, right. So you're onto Amazon. I'm a consumer trying to quit or cancel my Amazon account. Okay, picture that. So I'm going to go up into my account. That would be obviously the logical thing to do. Okay, my account, cancel my account. Yeah. Okay, so then I go up and then I'm like, okay, in this list, I'm looking for things like close, delete account, cancel. Okay, can't find it. Let's go deeper. Let's go into my account itself. Must be here, maybe under users, maybe under, I don't know, it could be under anything actually, but no sign of cancelling, closing, deleting, removing my account, nothing to do with me is there. Okay, so it goes on. This is, by the way, the only way I realised how to do this was a Reddit blog, because some people had done this through this before. The footer, the trusty footer, there must be something in there. Help, I need help leaving my account. Okay, so now it gets silly. Okay, obviously it'll be too easy otherwise. Need more help, sure. Contact us to leave. Okay, sure. Prime or something else. Something else is really, really obvious there. Okay, a drop down, not just one drop down, but 2 drop downs under login and security. Okay, and then finally, after about 8 steps, close my account. Yeah. So I, and then you have to talk to them and send them a message, which is brilliant. So I mean, I don't know what the UX team their agenda was. I mean, I'm sure that there was maybe a business decision in there. I'm sure they retain about 1 million customers worldwide a year just because of the scale of it, just from doing that, because people literally don't know how to leave. But anyway.
Does he work? Okay, so we've been to design school, or we've learned from the design mistakes of the past. We know about the evils of dark patterns, we've all encountered them. And we've been reborn as these user-centric beings. Good. Well, sort of. Oh no. Because we're now so laser-focused on our users that we've forsaken the landscape around them. And that's where these unintentional consequences in our design work are running amok. Okay, let's take the Apple AirTag, for example. If you're not familiar with the AirTag, it's for people like me that after a long day of work have put their keys in the freezer rather than on the whole table and spent the next 40 minutes looking for them. It's also the stalker's best friend. So they're these tiny chips that allow you to track your personal belongings, but you can also really easily put them into people's pockets or into their handbags without them knowing, and it's very easy to track your victim, as it were. Now, this is not just a story from the dark corners of Reddit. I've been privy to this. It's absolutely terrifying when it does happen, and they're impossible to disable. To Apple's credit, they have now released some security for this. So if you're an iPhone user and an Apple tag is placed on your person without you knowing, then after 3 hours, it will let you know. So goodness knows what's happening in that time. But if you're an Android user, you have to download a special app in order to get the notification that you have an AirTag on you. So you have to preempt your own stalking as a victim. Now, I'm sure none of the people at Apple working on this product intended to harm their users in any way. But in being so user-focused, they forgot to consider the consequences of potential misuse. So, how do we think about consequences in our work, and how do we bring it into our design thinking when we're kicking off projects? Let's start from the beginning. So, when we get a design brief, we usually kick it off with a how might we. So, how might we make our sign-up flow more frictionless? How might we automate cancellation process, unlike Amazon? This is well and good, but again, it's laser focused on our users and aligned only with them and not the broader set of stakeholders. So, in order to broaden our thinking, we're suggesting that along with how might we should also be asking at what cost? And we need to think about our stakeholders as anything but this guy here. So we need to be thinking about the environment, our organisation, and our culture within our organisation, society at large, as well as our user. So alongside how might we's needs at what costs. Let's take a little high-level Airbnb example. So one of their initial how might we's was how might we offer users a way to experience a new destination like a local. However, they failed to consider how local communities would react to this. So local communities have been priced out by commercial landlords, and that's a societal cost.
So what does this look like in real life for sort of me and Leanne? So glad you asked. We sort of use this how might we and then at what cost sort of thinking at Cuckoo, sort of where we work. So, but first, probably should explain. I'm sure. Put your hands up if you know Cuckoo. I'm not sure all of you would. Ah, it's not bad. So before that, I'll just give a bit of context. So Broadband, probably one of the most hated industries in the UK at the moment. You know, if you look at Virgin, you probably can't get through to them. TalkTalk, BT, the Trustpilot reviews talk for themselves. Is anyone got? I mean, sure. I won't even get you to put your hands up. I'm sure everyone here has a war story about broadband. Whether that's going down, you can't get hold of your provider, you have some kind of nightmare, and that is shown through. This is just a quick draw of Trustpilot. So money robbing, the worst customer experience I have ever had. Can your broadband be so effing disgraceful customer service? Truly abysmal, awful website, you get the picture. They're real comments, so yeah. So broadband's broken, right? So the average industry NPS, last time I checked, was 9, and some of the brands, the main brands that a lot of you will be with at home have minus net promoter scores. So that is, on a scale of 1 to 10, would you recommend them to a friend or family? That's a lot of people giving them really low scores. And why is that? It's to do with things like slow delivery. It takes you about 2 weeks to get connected. Loyalty charges. This is ridiculous, okay? So this is one of the reasons why we co-founded Cuckoo a couple of years ago. So with most companies, the longer you're with them, the more you pay. And then the new customers, they rope you in with these these offers. And then without telling you, I'm sure most of you have experienced this, after 12 months, the price goes right up. Large exit fees, it costs up to, basically, if you want to get out of your contract early, with some brands, won't name any names, it costs you about 450 quid at a time when everyone is challenged with sort of cost of living and everything like that. Terrible service. You just saw just there. You cannot get hold of most internet providers, and then they'll pass you around siloed teams and whatnot, and then you get through to someone else and you have to explain yourself again. It's an absolute nightmare. So introducing Cuckoo. So we were founded in 2020. There's 3 of us that founded it, and essentially the whole focus was on the customer experience. So to your talk actually this morning about Monzo, we sort of looked at finance and saw you've got Revolut and Monzo in finance, and then in energy you had the Ovos and the Octopus of the world, basically putting the consumer genuinely, truly first, having strong UX, building out strong UX sort of principles for whatever the experience might be, and focus on sort of modern technology. So that's sort of what we've sort of tried to do in broadband. And how have we done that, or what does that actually look like? We've only ever offered the fastest speeds. We've got this. We send out. You can do next day delivery on getting you connected. Everyone pays the same. So no matter how long you are with us, whether that's years, days, whatever, everyone pays the same price. And that was a principle that we fought for from day one. And that's something we'll always stand by. No exit fees. We're about to launch that. So literally, you can leave us at any time. Dangerous, but after a month, if you want to leave, you can leave, and we won't charge you for it. And then we've won, and then the proof is in the pudding. We've just won, 2 years running, best customer service on moneysavingexpert.com. Just again from investing in the customer experience. So how easy is it to join us? How easy is it to leave us? How easy is it to get help when you need it? And those are just some of the things that we're sort of doing. Cool. Now for the how.
Cool. So I'm going to look at some of our use cases with the how might we and what cost lens. The first one's a bit of an awkward one because Tommy designed the original product and I've changed it.
Won't take offense.
So how might we? How might we enable a user to complete our sign-up flow in a few clicks as possible? At what cost? Friction's not always the bad guy. Well-placed friction helps create helpful pauses and encourages users to process commitment. What was the original one? Three clicks?
3 clicks, which I was really proud of because I was like, it's the shortest sign-up flow in the industry. And then we had customers saying, I didn't know, I've just joined a broadband company. Too good, arguably. Too smooth.
Too seamless. So we've doubled it and we've made it twice as long. Sorry. Next one. Cool. So now every choice in our sign-up flow is really clearly signposted. There's lots of signifiers to let users know what they've committed to. And we really, really hope that people realise that they're signing up for broadband after 5 steps and about 16 different clicks. But here it's more about function to protect the user.
actually, just and on that, it's like yin and yang, like it's push and pull. Like our customer service team now get far less questions around like the actual product they're signing up for, the capabilities, the price, the plan, because of the work, because we've made the sign up flow longer, because they're more educated before they make that purchase decision. So you all saw how hard it was to leave Amazon. So how might we retain customers intent on cancelling their service or leaving your product? i.e. like, how do we keep people that want to leave? At what cost? The organisational damage of the hard sell far outweighs the commercial benefits of retaining customers who would not choose this path for one reason or another. So retention should be seen really like as part of, should be basically a life cycle objective, not just a cancellation one. So we kind of, churn's going to happen, right? Everyone's going to leave your product at some point or another. And being, I think it's all about being prepared for that is the strategic choice. So we treat, see the cancel button there. We treat it, that's on the main screen as soon as you log in. One step away. So we treat a lost customer or a customer that leaves us still as a customer. So we almost like they're on hiatus. So if they cancel their broadband with us, yeah, sure, they're not paying a bill. But we still treat them as someone who's had an interaction with us, someone that might come back. Because the point is, if you leave someone on a positive note that has a good experience when they leave you, i.e. like it's really easy to leave, they're going to go, do you know what, Cuckoo, all right. Or the government, all right. Whoever it might be, that whatever product or service that you're building for, it's not all about like ring fencing the customer and making sure they don't leave using forceful tactics. So we've invested a huge amount of time to make that sort of journey as simple as possible. I can tell you, not just Amazon, I can tell you in our industry, you basically, if you try and, has anyone tried to leave BT? You probably get hounded by SMS, emails, retention calls, cold calls, warm calls, the whole lot, door knocking, the whole thing. Get a whole army of people trying to retain you. It's mental. Cool.
So this one comes from back in the early days when we ran a 3-month free offer, just a bit of a mouthful. But we hadn't scaled our service team to deal with the amount of new customers that we had. So we thought about how might we use automation to improve the speed at which our customer contacts are handled. However, automation can be helpful, but what significant aspects of this human interaction would we lose in doing so? So we ask the people that face this every day. There are service agents. We call them our experts. We think it's very funny. I'm sure they do as well. We asked them what was happening and how we could make life easier for them rather than just simply introducing a bot. I don't know if anybody's worked in customer service before. It's a sea of grey UI with drop shadow buttons. You need at least 8 screens open at one time to complete one single task. So it's not that they were slow, it's that the tech was awful legacy tech and the processes were complex. So we decided to take them on a journey with us and get them involved in service and UX design and demystify the whole thing so that they could clearly tell us what friction they were experiencing. So we hijacked our weekly all hands and I ran a workshop on service design processes through the medium of making toast, which we then turned into process mapping, which is great fun, and I am concerned about a few people in our team and how they make toast. But it got them really involved in the journey, and they were really excited about being able to make these maps and identify these pain points. So we started running FigJam and kind of one-to-one coaching for anyone in the service team that wanted to get involved and start to build their own maps. Now they're building so many maps that I might be out of a job at some point, so I'm slightly regretting my decision. We've used this data, though, to build internal tooling, which is going to replace all of that awful grey UI with one tool and make it really easy for them to actually do their jobs rather than just speaking to an anonymous bot.
Cool, so how might we give back to the community using a percentage of our customers' monthly bills? At what cost? So too often there's a disconnect between what the private sector offers charities and what charities really need. So we all know it's greenwashing essentially, where most companies now give money to charity in some way or another, but it's typically sort of lacks empathy, and it's kind of an afterthought. It's bolted on. A lot of brands do it almost just because they feel like they have to as a tick box exercise. So when I founded Cuckoo 3 years ago, we had this concept of the Cuckoo Compass, and it's around 1% of every single bill goes to help get internet to where it's needed most. So it aligns with our mission. We partnered with a charity called Jangala, and we essentially send Wi-Fi boxes out to hostile environments, refugee camps, developing communities around the UK. In COVID, we actually were helping communities around the UK. So it's baked into our DNA rather than an afterthought. But money sort of, actually one thing I will say is we've been directly involved in some projects. So for example, we sent out one of these. This is called a big box. It's pretty cool. Basically blasts out Wi-Fi when you're in like a remote region. Pretty rugged piece of kit. You can chuck it around. You wouldn't want it. It's about that big. But yeah, so we sent out one of these using the 1% donations from every bill to a school in Ghana, library in Ghana, where it serves around 7,000 people. Let me double check that. Yeah, 7,000 people. And it has a reach of about 20,000 people, and it's predominantly women and girls that go there. So it's a load of schools, 40 primary schools, and 4 high schools benefit from this service, allowing them to get access to education and resources which they would not otherwise have. And their motto, actually, which I really like, is empowering the next generation, which is kind of is a really nice kind of gesture. But just outside of sort of the donation piece and this direct involvement on those projects, we do a lot of stuff closer to home. So we work with Jangala. This is some of the Jangala team. That's actually Leanne. And sort of this, we've got the Cuckoo design team are here, or the UX team, and then you've got the Jangala sort of founders and developers there. So, and what we were doing is they requested our expertise, which was really interesting. So they had this thing actually comes with an interface, which was basically unusable. They were used out in the field, out in Afghanistan, out in all corners of the Middle East, Eastern Europe, and all sorts. So we ended up helping them, like basically on how they could improve that onboarding experience. And again, like our marketing team works with them on how they can promote their charity brand. Our people team help them on how they can recruit their recruiting partners. So essentially the whole of the Cuckoo team is an extension of theirs and really helps them, which is great.
So one of our mottos, in order to understand our consequences, is get in good trouble. And by that I mean ask questions.
Oh yeah.
We've done so well.
Got little emojis over who's doing what. I forgot I was the frog. You're the heart, I'm the frog. So we'd like to leave you with some advice, and you're probably going, and so what? So here's sort of just a little roundup. It's like a dentist visit, but without the shiny sticker that you get at the end. So consider the consequences. Interrogate briefs. Ask yourselves that when you get a how might we, whether like Leanne said earlier, like how might we improve something? How might we improve X funnel, X journey, X experience? How do we sell more things? Interrogate the briefs that you get from whoever the stakeholder is, and ask yourself at what cost. Put it through that at what cost lens.
So the second one is get uncomfortable. Ask difficult questions. As designers, it's our job to understand the process and really understand the product and service that we're creating. If you're being difficult, you're doing a really good job.
Mentor the next generation of difficult designers. To be critical thinkers, and I think that's the biggest one. It's all one thing taking a brief and just just running with it, but asking questions can be awkward, and they should be awkward. and we should encourage that of the sort of next wave of people in our industry, whether they're developers, whether they're designers, whether they're whatever they might be, product type people. And it's things like, I always think back to when I was studying sort of in the digital space, user experience. The skills they don't teach you is some of the softer skills, so things like negotiation and critical thinking and that kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's up to us to sort of encourage that.
And finally, if it looks like a duck, swims like a duck, and quacks like a duck, it's probably as unethical as your gut is telling you. Please stop working on it. It's a designer's market at the minute. Our craft is being recognised for how important it is. So with recognition comes responsibility. Get out there and make something better, if you can.
Okay, so we had to get this in. So we're on our so it would be a miss to be speaking here at the Natural History Museum to not get Jurassic Park ending in. So in the words of Dr. Malcolm,
I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
Design will find a way. Thank you.
And that's us. Thank you very much.